All right, so we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to CAS 360 Singapore Level 2 sessions. My name is Jennifer, Account Manager for Singapore, and today I will be running through with you the Level 2 session for CAS 360 Singapore. Now, just a very quick housekeeping matter. This session is recorded. All attendees in this training are put on mute. So if you do have any questions, kindly post them in the Q&A section of your Zoom toolbar. I've also posted the link of the manual for today's training. So do refer to your webinar chat. Along the way, I will be sharing a couple of useful links as well that you can bookmark. Otherwise, you can always access those information into our Singapore Help Guide within your CAS 360 software. All right, so we'll get started. Now, in today's sessions, we're going to learn much more advanced feature of CAS 360, which first lesson, we're going to learn about reports. So we do have different types of reports available in the software. And we're going to do a couple of samples like your company reports, reports, people group report, and also learn how to generate a full company register set. So I have a range of reports available, but in this lesson, we're only going to learn how to do 3. In lesson number 2, we'll learn how to streamline your annual returns report. So with annual return process, there are a couple of things or best practices and tools that you can prepare your annual return filing process, which includes generating your company listing reports to help you view your different financial year ends, your AGM, and upcoming annual returns in a report format. We also have annual general meetings and annual return alerts, and also how a company status change will determine the type of annual return process and data that will appear in your annual return process as well. We're also going to learn how to process your annual return filing, AGM preparation of the documents, and also XBRL. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to prepare your annual returns, generate AGM documents, and also prepare XBRL using our own CAS 360 XBRL tool within the software as well. Multi-company changes. Essentially, when you apply a multi-company change, for example, if the office or registered office address has changed to multiple companies, you can do a bulk change across multiple selected companies or to all, depending on your on the companies. And in this lesson, we'll learn also how to do a officer bulk change using the multi-company changes. Lesson number 5 will cover on the digital signing. So we're going to learn how to set up your digital signing on CAS 360. So we have 3 or 4 software providers that we have partnered with in terms of digital signing. So we'll give you a little bit of information or prerequisite on how to set up your digital signing and what to look out for when you purchase a license with the different digital signing platforms. Settings. So we're going to learn different types of settings available in CAS 360. You can find that in the navigation toolbar on the left-hand side of your navigation toolbar. Settings will allow you to customize your document templates, email settings and templates. You can also set up your lodgement and also set up your global automated document reminders and AGM reminders as well. And lastly, freeform documents. Here we're going to go through how to create your freeform templates and also use that template to prepare a freeform templates for your clients. So freeform template feature allows you to save your non-CAS 360 process or CAS 360. It's outside of CAS 360 process, but you want to put it as part in the software, you can use the freeform documents as well. So I'll go and jump straight to my CAS 360 right over here. All right. So I think some few people just logged in as well. So I'm going to repost back. Again, a very quick reminder again for the manual of today's training. You can find it in the webinar chat. You can use these along the way as I do the demonstrations during this training as well. So the first thing that I want to go through is your reports for lesson number 1. So in lesson number 1, we'll learn how to generate reports, including your company listings report, your company reports, people group report, and full company register set. So on the left-hand side of your navigation toolbar, you will see this icon over here called Reports. And this will bring you to the range of standard reports available in CAS 360. So one of which is your company listing. And company listing allows you to view much more information about the list of your companies. And you can filter the reports as well based on the report filters and report settings. So in the company listing, you have the ability to also set based on the jurisdictions. If you want to just generate only Singapore specific, you can filter based on jurisdiction. You can also set the type of report order. Is it based on annual return or company ascending, for example? The annual return period. So usually I would put it as full year, but again, you have the ability to set it if you want to split per quarter, for example, all agents as well. So agents, if you recall, this is your registered filing agents. If you have registered multiple registered filing agents, you can select all, or generally you can also select the only ones that have assigned to your corpus, for example. You can also filter based on report date. So it will display information as of today's date. If you want to generate a report on a backdated report, for example, you want a report as of the July period, what was, the changes, updates, or anything that has during that period of time, you can backdate the reports. You can also filter based on company status, subclass, company type, and also labels. If you want to just simply select companies under a specific label, you can deselect the ones that you don't wish to. So that's for the report filter for company listing. And we also have report settings. So the report settings allow you to control what you can display for your company listing. So as you can see, the maximum option that you can in terms of the column or data range is a maximum of 9 columns. So here you can control whether you want to display the company number, for example, company type, company status, and so on. And you also notice as you scroll along, there are some informations called there is a additional button advanced option that allows you to go on a much more granular level when you do your report settings. So for example, so those are the two ones that we have right now. You can see that I have set as also to display FYE, AGM, previous review returns. Maybe this one I can, can switch on, and then annual returns last file, for example. So you can control this part and then save settings. And once you're happy with the settings, you can simply export. So I've just chosen to export into PDF. So I think right now I'll export it. And you can also export it into Excel. So it should arrive. I should have the company listing. You also have, I think, these ones as well. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. So you'll have your AGM, your annual return, and so on over here. Now, if you have a specific, a much more custom report that you like to have, if this is not enough, as this is a much more like a standard report, you can always reach out to our support to request a custom report as well. So that's how we generate a company listing. So ideally, best practice, this is a very useful report when you want to just keep track of your key dates like your annual returns, your financial year end, and so on. So the next report that you can use as well is what we call your people group report. So people group report allows you to generate based on a particular person, right? So here you have, instead of like your contacts, your companies, it'll be the list from your global contacts. So again, you can filter based on the filters available. You can also filter based on all. So if you want to display the historical positions and holding to multiple firms, you can also do that. Your report dates, again, you can also display different types of information as well. You can control what you can display in that. So I can just switch off if I don't want it to be a public office. I can switch off this part as well. So we do have much more. So we've done a couple of updates for the people group reports. It's much more granular, and this is not just exclusively for Singapore, but across all jurisdictions. So you can switch on whichever filter or report settings that you like. So again, you can do in Word or PDF. So I haven't selected mine, so I'm just gonna select one contact first. Again, and it will generate a people group report. So depending on whether you've already filled up all the informations on your global contact, it will display this information as well. Because I've also included the ones that I've resigned and removed, it will display in the historical appointments and share and also holdings. So that's for people group report. So next thing, it's not, this report is in your, so the earlier report I've shared earlier, it's actually under one of your lessons, but since we're on the report, I've covered it on the lesson number 1. But if you want to find out that more specific, the company listing report, it will be on your lesson number 2 in your manual. All right, so the next report I want to go through is what we call the company report. So company report, essentially from the title itself, it will display to you all the company data that you have recorded for that particular company. So if you're on the manual right now, it will display to you all the information. This can be found on the page 6 of your manual over here. So the company summary report, it will display this list of information on your company report. So again, you can also filter based on what you want to display in your company report. So company report can be found under company reports and select this category instead. Again, similarly, we do have different types of filters available. If you want to just show current, you can also filter based on position and holdings. And again, similarly, we have the report settings. So you can see that some of the categories of the data, they have the advanced option that allows you to also adjust what you can display. For example, in company address, if you wish to display the company or the previous company address, you can switch on the toggle button. So similarly, if you have under your company officers, so you can choose what to disclose in that company report. If you don't wish to show the date of birth, for example, it's a sensitive information, all right, then you can just switch that off. So you have the ability to control what you can display in that report using the advanced options. Again, you can click Save and either you select multiple companies or select only one. So I'll just search for one company as an example. Click this company and export into PDF. So I'm just going to quickly open up the company report. So you can see over here, so the information. So these information is pulled out from your CAS 360 database. So this particular why it's important that you must, make sure that your data is up to date. Only you as a user have the ability to, update those information so that you have much more accurate report when you generate the company reports. All right. So before I proceed, so I have some few questions that I went through. So one of which is AML reports. So AML reports, this compliance report AML report. So it depends on how you define it. For Singapore, an AML report is something that has to do specifically for a ID verification report. Okay, that is the definition of AML report for a Singapore context. All right. So, but for us, within the software itself, we have a different report definition of AML reports. What we call compliance report is essentially to generate whether the company went through the AML or CDD process. So you can generate that way. I think I might not have the actual report itself as I didn't do much for this company and didn't go through the AML. So this is how it will look like. If you went through the whole compliance tab, so you will notice that in each company, there is a compliance tab. Specifically, this is the report that you can generate. But if we are talking about AML report, specifically for ID, for a person, of verification of a person identity, that's a different type of report. So that will be ID verification status listing. All right. So this one I'll not cover these topics as it does not cover with level 2 session. Also because that our BGL ID features, it's still on the work in progress. We're still doing a bit of work around the reports, what data that we can pull out from Refinitiv WorldJect and also that. But if you are interested to explore our AML screening features, do reach out to us as well, and we can get our product team to enable that feature so that you can start playing around or testing out our feature as well. So at the moment, I'm not going to cover this topic, but yes, AML reports can be found on this section. Another question. So how about Chandra's under the company report? That's a very good question. I'm not sure whether this is available, but I think right now we don't have these, but I could check with our product team. Now, with this kind of reports, like an example is informing displaying the charges that you put in. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna go in the company, all right, and there's a field over here where you can put in the charges, all right, this section. Now, what you'll notice in this report, I think it's a company report, you don't exactly have that filter. I don't think we have that specific filter right now. Yes, we don't have. So, but you want to display that. So what you can do again is always go to live chat. So either live chat or support. And when you generate a port, you have to list to them, okay, what kind of data fields I want in my report. Is it company name, UN, charges, and so on. Okay, so this is what we call a custom report. You will have to request, it's a SPY request if you have a much more granular version of the report that you want. So these are only the available one, but more granular reports, you will need to reach out to our support. All right, so that's that. Okay, so are we able to show company with nominee directors and shareholders? So I'm not exactly sure what you meant, if it's something that has to do with reports. Maybe share a little bit more clarity on this. But again, nominee directors and nominee shareholder, you can display and record that information within CAS 360 and prepare the documents as well. So I hope that answers the question. So I'm gonna just quickly check on that. So this is what we have at the moment, registrable control and nominee. But I think the nominee director would fall under the category of, it would be somewhere along company officers. Because if you remember, if you recall, nominee directors are stored under your company tab. I'm just gonna go over here, refresh this, just to remove. So depending on where you stored it. So for example, here, when you are processing an officer in this section, the nominee director falls under the officer. That means that when you generate a company report, not only it will show officers like your directors, your secretary, managing director, CEO, but it will also display the nominee director because you've stored it under the officers page. All right, so I hope that answers the question. All right, so I'm going to move on to another report here. So we've covered more, so company listing. We've also covered company report, and also we've covered the people group report. So group report is similar to company listing. The only key difference is that you are generating a report based on what you have stored from your contacts, right? Now, another very useful tool within the reports is the ability to generate company register set. So in CAS 360, you can see that you can generate registers. For example, I want to generate a register of officers and select the companies that you want to display. Now, if, for example, you are in a scenario where you want to generate the full set of the company registers for a particular company or multiple companies, you can simply select company, full company register set. So you don't have to generate one by one. Again, we have different reports, filters similar to the other reports. And here you can also select what you want to display in the report. So I've already switched on information as well if I want that. So charges. So in if you can display the charges in the register, but unfortunately in the company report we don't have, so you can just select that. So one thing to highlight is this is more on the company registers, whereas the other one is more on a report. So you can use this as an alternative if you want to display the charges, which is the register of charges, if you have, key in this information. So once you've clicked that, so it will display single PDF or per company or multiple PDFs per company. So what does it mean? So multiple PDF companies is that essentially for each register, you will get one PDF file. So I've got one PDF for here, one PDF file here, one PDF file for each. And when you export, choose this option, it will generate a zip folder version with all those separate PDF files per register. All right, so whereas with single PDF, essentially it will generate one single PDF file with all the register inside. So what it meant, so to give you an example is CAS 360. So I'm select, again, I use CAS 360 Singapore, export that out, and I select single PDF. So you will receive a notification in your notification bell icon that those files are ready for download. So click OK and select notification. So what you'll see is that it will notify you that the company register set are ready for download. So simply click on download and it will download a folder for you. So you can see this is an example. I've got my single PDF, all my register in one single PDF file. Whereas I'll do another example. So I'm going to close that. If I were to select, for example, similarly, so I'll select the same company and select multiple PDF. Again, similar process. You will get notified that you're ready to download the company registers. And what you'll see is a one PDF file per register. So all separated. So it's really up to you how you want to generate those reports. All right, so that's for different types of reports. That's for lesson number 1. The different types of reports we can do in CAS 360. So we have do a range. So again, if you do want a custom report, you can always reach out to our support channel, our live chat, or the support call to request for a custom report. Now, the next topic that I want to go through is your annual returns. Okay. So these content can be found on your page 13 of your manual. So I'll just quickly go there. Again, you can just click on this bookmark and streamline. So in lesson number 2, we'll learn different types of how we can process or help you streamline your annual return. So we have different useful tools to help you manage your upcoming AGMs and also reports. So one of which is your AGM and your annual return alerts. This one I've already covered under reports. So if you want to find out more content, understand a little bit more, you can always come and click on that page. All right. Or you can also, so very quick navigation to let you guys know as well. You can always click anything that is in blue text. You can just click on it, so it's easy navigation. And we'll cover also in this level lesson to streamline your annual return. So you'll learn how this company status change will affect the kind of questionnaires that you will receive when you're going through the annual return process and AGM documents. So going back to my tab over here. So when you go to the main dashboards in CAS 360, if you're not able to see this section, you can simply click on the arrow and it will be on the left-hand side. So a very quick tip, if you want to find out what kind of alerts available specifically for Singapore, you can simply select the jurisdiction. This will filter down the type of alerts specific for Singapore only. Now, one of the things that you can set up for alert and also keep track is your AGM and annual returns. So you can see right over here that I've got 13 AGM related alert. And if you click onto the AGM, this will give you a much more granular type of alerts. So each is subcategorized under AGM alert based on the financial year end date approaching, AGM due past. And each time you click this alert, this will automatically filter down based on that alert, specific alert that you have selected. So you can see these are in the purple, and then you also have the ones in orange and red. And you've also got your annual return. So annual return has a lot more sub alert categories based on annual return due dates, upcoming, date past, process not filed, and process not filed overdue. So I'm going to talk a little bit more what is the difference with these ones. Now, what you'll notice is that in alerts, you have different color categories. This will represent the type of sub alerts. And if you want to find out more specifically what these reports represent in terms of description, you can simply put your mouse into the question. So you can see, for example, financial year end date. So they will calculate the upcoming ones based on year end approaching within 30 days. So you get an alert if the financial year end date is approaching 30 days, within 30 days, right? So you also have your annual return general meetings due. You have your company annual returns due to process, and you also have your annual returns meeting due date as passed and so on. So I can just hopefully everybody can see. All right. In your manual, if you want to find out more what each of these alert represents, you can go to the page 14 on the manual. It will actually do an explanation for each of these alerts. So how do we, it will show you the explanation and logic of each of these alerts as well. So going back to my CAS 360 over here, one of the great and powerful tools of these alert is that in each alert that you select, it will display to you specifically what the alert means. For example, over here, AGM due, all right? If I were to click the AGM due, it will show to me it's required to hold the AGM before this 1st of March. And the AGM reminder has been sent on the 7th of August 2025 this year. Right? So because this one, I've set a automated reminder, which can be found in the settings. We'll cover that in the last lessons. And you will also recommend to you the actions required for that particular alert. So because it's an AGM related alert, it will recommend you to either prepare the AGM documents, apply for extension if you required. If this company is exempted for holding AGM and send reminder. Let's say this company, for example, it's exempted to hold a AGM, so you can just select that this section over here and then process it accordingly. Similarly, so you can see yes, company is required, or no, it's exempted. Then click save. So that will be removed in your list as well. Right, so each of these have a specific recommended action. So an example, again, also here, this one, AGM ready due, also annual return overdue. Nothing has been done for the annual returns, which means you'll need to go to the annual returns, locate that company to process the documents in your returns features. Right, so that's the smart alerts available in CAS 360. So any questions in the annual AGM and meeting alerts? Now, before I proceed to the company status chain, so something I also want to highlight in a best practice to make sure that you have an accurate alerts over here. So if we're to collect, for example, of this company over here, 15 June, what you'll need to take note of is this section over here. So it's very important that you update this information regularly, particularly every time you do the filing for the company. You must make sure that you fill up this information when it will be the next financial year end date, so that you get the much more accurate alerts. So if I were to say, let's look at these ones, I think maybe this one, for example, and I go to company dates, you can see that this is based on my financial year end last year. I haven't put any annual return last filed, so make sure that if you already filed the annual return for that particular company, then just put it over here as well. So let's assume if I already filed, okay, I'm just going to change the annual returns, for example, financial year and here. You can also calculate, you can use a calculator over here to calculate the next annual return due date and the next AGM. Right? If you already filed, right, make sure to put it over to this section. Let's say I've already filed it on, just going to put it 30th of August, for example. I'm just going to, or maybe I'll put it over here, let's say, right, last filed. So make sure that you update the next financial year end date. So I would say that this is my next financial year end date, and then do the calculation accordingly so that you get the accurate reports, or rather alerts, for the next calendar year. Right, so just take note of that. All right. So next topic I want to go through in your lesson number 2 is company status. So in company status, the objective of this is we're going to learn how to change the status of the company and generate the necessary documents for a change of status. So the company status will determine the type of annual return data questionnaire that you will receive when you're preparing annual reports. It will also determine the type of annual return declaration text paragraph that will appear in your AR document. So it's important that you change or update the company status if there's any changes in type, subclasses, and so on, particularly if the company has moved into a small group company, for example. So here, as you can see, like in your returns, you will display all this information over here. So I'm just going to do an example. Let's use 23rd of August, company right over here. So you can see an example in my company type. I've got a private exempted, limited by shares, small group. Now, if for example this company has switched to none, like a standard company type, private limited, not a small group, so you can simply click none. Now, if sometimes when you select small company group, it will actually prompt you if it has a group company. So usually for subsidiaries cases. So I will change this into none, and then I can just simply click save. Now, this is one of them, which, for example, let's say this company has changed to a dormant, for example. You can simply click on dormant, and essentially when you're preparing your annual returns, the kind of questionnaire that you will receive is related to a dormant company, for example. So keep that as it is, as just gonna put it as dormant, click save. So if I were to go to my returns, I'm gonna just search for that particular company, these ones. When I prepare the documents, you can see that you have these, is it a dormant company, relevant company, exempted for financial statement, for example, because I have highlighted whether it's a dormant company, so I can simply click yes. And then all your AGM documents, other rest of questionnaires. So I'm gonna go through this in a while as well, but essentially it's very important that your status of the company is up to date prior to filing the annual returns. If there are any changes, make sure to change them accordingly so that you are preparing the correct declaration for your annual returns. All right. So I'm just gonna quickly go through. So before I jump to lesson number 4, we're just gonna look at my questionnaire. So can we notify CAS 360 for passport? So I'm not going through this topic at the moment because this is not covered in level 2 sessions. We do, however, you can find this information on your help guide as well. These passport expiry can be found in your AML CDD. Right? But in order for you to be able to activate this particular compliance, you need to go through the compliance tab. Then you will receive this notification. If you don't go through the whole compliance tab, this one will not really come out properly. So just make sure that you go through the compliance. So what I mean about compliance tab, it's right over this section over here. Yeah, so this feature is free for you, so you can do the whole process within the software, within the whole workflow. The only chargeable one will be the AML screening, which I will not cover in this lesson. Now, another question that we went through, if a company has dispensed a holding of AGN, how do we update that in a company data so that we get notification for annual return due date? So again, you need to update on your company dates. All right. So this is the alerts usually is dependent on your dates. If you don't have an accurate record of the date, then you will also not have an accurate, alert. So it's very dependent on the data. You have to put it on your company dates. So I'll talk about the question later about your AGM minutes because I haven't covered that topic as of yet, but any questions so far in the alerts? and also the company status change. If there's no questions on that, so I will proceed to lesson number 3, which is annual return filing and XBRL. So this lesson can be found on your page 25 onwards of your manual. And we're going to cover on, firstly, how do we prepare the XBRL using the CAS 360 tool within that you can download, and also preparing the annual return documents using CAS 360. So just going to go quickly on this, as this is something that I want to highlight. If you are preparing XBRL, there are a couple of prerequisite information that you need to make sure of so that you'll be able to utilize XBRL preparation tool. So just like the ones with Accra, the XBRL tool available in CAS 360 has to be downloaded onto your computer, onto their computer to do the preparation. It's not on cloud, unfortunately. It's actually it has a separate preparation tool exclusively only for preparing XBRL. And in order to run that, so you can, if you want to download that, you can simply click this link. It will prompt you to download and install that preparation tool onto your computer. And you also need to make sure whoever is preparing the XBRL, right, whether it's the accounts team or so on, or a specific person in your firm preparing, you need to make sure that that person has the XBRL FS switched on. What I mean by that, so if I were to go back to my CAS 360, if you recall going to my app switcher and select users, as an account owner, I will have a ability to set user roles for each of my team members. So if for example, the person who's preparing is an accountant, for example, my default is an accountant, whichever user has the accountant as a role settings, they need to make sure that this XBRL is switched on. If it's not switched on, he or she will not be able to prepare the XBRL or even download it. So you want to make sure that this has been even switched on first before you can prepare the XBRL. If you are the user who's preparing and you can't seem to access the XBRL tool itself, please notify your account owner on this. Okay, unfortunately we cannot control who has within your firm XBRL or not, as this is the account owner's responsibility to manage who access what in their CAS 360 account. Right, so another also thing that they need to take note of is that this section over here. If you go to admin, there is what we call token management. So the account owner must enable this in order to enable the token management. So token management, there are two token management. One is when you are migrating data onto CAS 360 or trying to access, if you're giving access to our client success team, this is the token, migration token. The other one is XBRL, okay? So you can see right over here, it's already expired. So if I were to run my XBRL, it will notify me to key in the new validation or token key. So what I mean by that, if I were to go to the options, let's go to my returns, for example, and run my XBRL, it will notify me to key in that token. So the reason why we have this token key is for security. So if the preparation tool is easily accessible and you don't have and not regulated who access what, then anybody can be accessing the preparation tool, which is very risky. So that's why our team, we've added in another layer of security by enabling Singapore XBRL token tool for those people who is using XBRL to prepare. All right. So going back to this, another important thing that you'll need to take up before launching the XBRL tool is the UN. Okay, so if you recall in your CAS 360, under your general details, you can add in the UN. So you need to make sure that your company name and your UN is accurate. All right, because all this information, this basic information on the general details will pushed in your XBureau application. So I'm just going to show that in a while. All right. Also, another thing that you need to make sure of that your registered filing agent is set up. So this one, I've already spoke about this in lesson in level 1, the importance of registered filing agent. So these ones, currently right now, because we don't have our ACRA lodgement, direct lodgement with ACRA, so not necessary it's needed, but again, it's the best practice. Put in the registered filing agent whenever you have a new client or if you have a client already in the list of your company list here. So make sure you assign all your companies with a registered filing agent still. Okay, so and lastly, one very important thing also is CASB, the XBRL tool is only available for Windows user. So if you are using Mac OS operating system, for example, it doesn't work in that environment. It only works in the Windows operating system environment. Like generally most preparers will use Windows, right? So I'll go back to my company's, my CAS 360. Now to enable these feature, you can simply go to returns. So each of the company, you will see there's an option over here called a tab or a button called options, which allow you to select an action, whether it's registered file, a mark as file, request ACRA data, and so on. So some of these features has been switched off due to the connection with ACRA right now. They've disabled all vendors, all software to access to their new platform as they're creating a new platform for the lodgements. So for now, what we can do is prepare using our XBRL. So here you will select Prepare XBRL Financial Tool. So in my computer right now, I've already installed that software, that preparation tool, the XBRL itself. So I can just simply click on Open to start XBRL. Most of the time, in your computer, you don't have the CAS 360 XBRL. So again, you'll need to make sure to download the file first before you can even launch that XBRL tool. So you can see over here at the beginning, it will prompt you to key in your XBRL token key. It's already expired, so it will prompt you to click on go into your migration tool. As a user for this company, I have access to the Singapore XBRL token. Like my account owner has given me access rights. So simply regenerate the code. It will show that this will expire on the 27th. It gives you like about a month of XBRL token. Copy and select back your XBRL token. So here I'm just gonna remove these ones, paste and validate. So you can see, unfortunately, I can't really zoom in because it's an application. So it will notify XBR financial statement for companies in CAS 360 firms. So my organization's name is Gen Training Singapore. And I confirm the list above is correct and true. So click Save. So you can see right now, this is the company that I have selected, and this will import the general details information into my XBRL preparation. It will also show to me who is the person preparing. It's based on the username. So you can either click new. So if you're starting from scratch, so you can see that over here, you can select whether it's full or simplified and so on. And it will automatically also list down the type of notes. And majority of the times for XBRL, you already have the existing XBRL from the last year. So you can always work on the last XBRL file by simply clicking, selecting the file. So here, I think I might have selected, just going to select a test. So this one might not be accurate. So you can see that it didn't match. So I'm going to select another company, for example. So again, I'll go back to my annual returns. I think this is the one. So again, process will be select, prepare XBRL financial statement, open and start. So I've already validated my token. So that will not prompt again to ask me to input my validation token. So you can see it automatically brings me to that preparation. So the process I'm doing right now is essentially I'm just selecting a previous file. So what it does is that it pulls out all this the past ones from the previous ones. I don't have any information. Maybe I'll select another sample quickly over here. Yeah, I think it's okay. So I think it's quite similar. So this, as my test is a little bit older file. So essentially, whatever information in your past file, it will automatically update the report fields as well. Now, again, you can create from scratch if it's new. And here, the import tool. So we have this where you can import the financial statements. You can simply drag and drop your financial statements, and it will automatically do a company label. So one of the very common questions about XBRL. So XBRL2 is essentially a supplementary free tool that we provide for the service provider who are preparing XBRL. Most of the time, they outsource this for the accounts team that they can use. So make sure that if you are doing this process, always make sure to give them rights to access to the CAS 360 as well. And you can simply generate a report. You can preview based on the AGM copy or XBRL document summary. You have the ability to also print labels based on the taxonomy of both. You can generate onto different formats, whether it's PDF, Word, and you can also validate. So I don't think there's going to be a really correct validation here right now. Let's say it won't be an accurate one. But what it does is when you run a validation, it's validating with ACRA. So we are actually, so you can see it's already, we have a linkage with ACRA in terms of validating XBRL. Okay, so that's another database with ACRA. It validates real time with ACRA as well. So I'm going to show you a little bit more successful process for XBRL because right now I don't have, usually for XBRL, you need to have an active company to be able to run that. So I'll do an example over here. Hopefully everybody can see. So again, it will be on your options and click prepare XBRL. So what it does, it opens up your XBRL tool so you can see that it will show and display the company you're working on. And when you click new, it will essentially display like the standard full XBRL and the standard report. So you can see this is a standard one. You don't have any fields available right now. It will also auto calculate if it's out of balance based on the 2 years. And what the user is demonstrating right now is that they're uploading a XBRL file, which is the past file. It will notify if you want to overwrite, and you can just simply yes. So you can see on the left-hand side, it will filter down based on your XBRL file that you have uploaded. So now has been changed to simplified XBRL instead of the full. So what you can see right now is that the user is trying to run a validation with Accra to validate whether there's any errors. And you can see on the validation report, there's a validation error. So first you have the ability to download the error. So Accra will provide you what are the list of genuine error that they spotted during that validation process. And you can just simply correct that. And you can also download the PDF copy review of the XBRL. So you will have a review copy. This is how the document or the report looks. If you're doing any auto tagging as well, this is how it will look like. And for the step, you'll just simply need to correct whatever error that is found by Accra after the validation process. So the user will just simply do a bit of a minor change to update to make sure that the validation, if he runs the validation again, it will be successful. So there were a couple of change or so an example earlier on, it was both into 18, and therefore it was causing some error. So now the user is updating the key dates as well. correctly and also updating some error along the data information, and you can run the validation report. So the validation with Accra for XBRL is free, and currently right now Accra allows our user to do validation of XBRL for free. So do feel free to use this validation tool. So again, the user is validating the tool. It's sending validation to Accra to validate the XBRL, and when you get a successful validation, it will notify you that there's no error, for example. So you can see in this demonstration, so I'll go back again because I went a bit. You will have this what we call validation success. No errors has been found. Click here to download the copy of the PDF, the much more updated version of the PDF review copy. So you can either pass this to your clients or keep it and attach it to your in the documents file for this company. And you will need to simply click on tick, I confirm that the XBRL data is true and accurate. So what we can, so I'm just gonna pause this for a while. So previously in CAS 360, you have the ability to upload and attach it back to CAS 360, specifically to the annual return filing process of that company, right? But unfortunately, because of the whole changes with Accra's lodgement process, as you know, they've done a bit of a big change with their portal since December. So we currently have disabled this feature. Even Accra has disabled that. So this part, unfortunately, we can't upload it. However, you can always select a save download. It will create a zip folder for you to upload the XBRL. So you can see when you click on prepare. So this is something that we will hopefully reinstate when everything is more stable, or we allow, or Accra allows us to do it once again. So essentially the whole process is to make it simplify for you as a preparer to not only prepare annual returns, but also upload the XBRL within the whole annual return workflow. I'm just gonna close this one here. In the expert tool as well, you have what we call balance forward. If you want these to be for the next year as well, you can choose to click on the balance forward. All right, so that's for XBRL. Now, one of the common questions for XBRL, how is it different from a cross preparation tool, for example? So the one big difference with XBRL is in CAS 360 is that the information earlier, if you noticed, when you upload, is that you don't have to fill up the general details. You don't have to fill up the UN manually and so on. Whatever information that has been stored in CAS 360, it can push onto your XBRL preparation tool. particularly this section over here, the general details and so on. Right, so that's for XBRL. Any questions so far for XBRL? So I'll be sharing to you another a particular channel or videos. It has a little bit more comprehensive because this topic is a little bit big and we don't have much time to cover everything. If you want to recap on the XBRL, you can simply go to the community, select webinars. So we've run some past webinar session previously on specific topics. So, and we do have some over here. I will be also sharing to you a YouTube channel on the past the XBRL if you intend to use our XBRL preparation tool provided by CAS 360. All right. So next topic, any questions so far before I jump into the next topic? All right. Okay, so the next topic I'll cover here, so I'll go back to my CAS 360, is essentially your annual returns. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to prepare your annual return process and also generate the AGM. So to give you a bit of tour around this feature, you can see on the left-hand side of the returns, you have the ability to filter based on the financial year end date and also which one is annual return due. So you can see 37 of them is annual due. If I were to filter, for example, based on if I were to change the date into 2025, for example, it will filter down all those companies that fall into that financial year end date over here. So I'm just going to go back to 2019 as I have a one sample companies. So again, you can filter it down. You can also filter it down based on the label. If you don't want to show everything. And in this section over here, you can see based on the company name, year end, AGM due, financial year ended. So if you recall the company dates, these dates are pulled out from your general details. And this is why it's so important to keep to always maintain an accurate record of your company dates. Now, going back to this return. So depending on your practice, if you do not wish to use XBRL or your annual return filing features in CAS 360, you have the ability to still prompt the system that you have already filed the annual returns. So what do I mean by that? So for example, let's say I'll use this example over here. All right, this May 23 training team. And you know that you've already filed this, but it's still showing up in my company, in my list of annual returns due. So what you can do is simply go to options and select mark as file. So what it does is that firstly, it will prompt you the file date. So if you file the if you know the date that's filed, just simply put it in. And a best practice is that if you've already filed directly to ACRA into the BIS profile in BIS file, you have a copy of the BIS profile and copy of that annual return lodgement and all the receipts. You can simply upload that files in there as a supporting record, right? Once I click save, that particular company will disappear, right? So if I were to go, let's say, for example, over here, the 23 May company. And you can see that if I were to go down into the general details and company dates, it automatically populates the annual return last file. Now, back then with our API integration with Accra, not only that you have the ability to do a annual return last file, but it also automatically changes your other key dates like your financial year end and your next annual return due, provided that you complete the whole annual return filing process through CAS 360. But for now, if you are filing it directly to Accra's website, what we can only do is update your annual return last file, but you will still need to manually update the financial year end and so on. So just take note of that. So you will notice that in your returns, for example, if you go to your returns, so I might have some over here. If you go to, you will see a lot of companies in your returns, and you'll wonder why you're having that. Is few things. One is that your key dates on your company dates. Second is that very importantly is mark as filed. You need to mark them as filed so that you know that you've already filed them accurately as well. So just best practice on this. Now, just going to go back to one of the companies as well. So aside from marking it as filed, if you manually mark as filed, you also have what we call mark as filed but not required. Okay, so you can choose that if you wish, if this is the status of the annual return for that particular company. Now, unfortunately, the rest of these features is being on pause at the moment because, again, this is something that has to do with Accra's API that we haven't that has been disabled across all software vendors connected to Accra. So hopefully we can reinstate that next year if if we get an update from Accra as well. But this is a very powerful tool that allows you to file directly from Accra. Now, so within your annual return, Singapore annual return dashboards, to prepare the AGM and annual returns, you can simply select Prepare Documents. So again, this will allow you to display all the necessary questionnaire to apply before the software can prepare the correct annual return data for you. So for example, over here, know the company is exempted for AGM. It's a solvent. If it's not, if it's insolvent or EPC, you can just click as it is. Whether it's exempted from audit. If you recall earlier, we have one company that's not, it's I think it's a dormant company. So you also notice that there is a declaration that it's a dormant company. So we'll do an example of that. The company that we set up the other day during my training level 1, you can see this is the status right now. If I were to set this into a small group, I'm just going to select it as none. I put it dormant, for example, right? And put it here. So my financial year end date is still on this. So hopefully, so just going to quickly check if these company appear. Okay. So, and this is an example. All right. So when I click on prepare first, you see that because that status of the company, you've changed it to dormant, you will see that these particular questionnaire will appear on the whole preparation, right? So this is also why it's very important to a few prerequisite actions or checklists that you need to do before preparing is firstly your key dates, secondly the company status, right? And that all the data informations, particularly all these information recorded here, all that is up to date prior to before you even process the annual return for that company. So going back to my returns page right over here, I, again, I click prepare documents. And if the company, if you have a questionnaire, whether it's required to hold an AGM, you can choose to select whether it's not required. So for example, it's exempted to hold an AGM because it's a private dormant relevant or pass the resolution to dispense holding AGM. And what also very important with the whole preparation of annual return documents and AGM documents is filling up this information called the annual return minutes data. So let's say if you have any reappointment of an auditor, you can simply switch on the toggle button or switch off. Currency has to be set in Singapore, so make sure you set the currency right. If there are any remunerations, you can add in the remunerations. You can also add in multiple remuneration as well. Director's fee, if you have any director's fee, I can just add in maybe over here. And if there's any re-election. So if the directors right now are all re-elected, you can just add there as well. Once you fill up this information, there's any profit and loss and dividends, always make sure to fill up that. This is particularly important because all the information that you have keyed in under the annual return minutes data will be displayed in your AGM members minutes. Okay, so to go, simply click Save Prepare. For example, just going to put that, click Save. Save and prepare. And having a bits of information. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do it one more time because I had a bit of some in my Wi-Fi right now. So let me just quickly go there again. So again, I'll just put in one example over here. So I'm having a bit some issue. I'm gonna do so I'm gonna select another company instead. Here. So I already have all this information. So you can see there's actually already all this information already listed. I didn't fill it in. But what essentially why that particular field is important is when you generate the AGM members minutes, any remuneration, director's fee, reappointment, it will be displayed in your document templates, your AGM members minutes. So this section, that particular, so go back one more time. I'll select this company, prepare documents. This information over here, you can see that we already fill up that information has been keyed in so that these will display in your AGM members minutes and also your AGM director minutes. So you can see your annual return reports over here. And what I want to highlight is this section here, registered, the declaration of where the location of your registrable controllers and nominee directors. You can see by default, it says that exempted from requirement of registered CAP is something along the line of your data input in the company profile is not been switched on correctly. So this is the 9th, I suppose this is the 9th February company. So if I were to select that company 9th February, so I need to make sure all these informations are correct. And also what you'll need to make sure of is that I'm gonna go back to the same company. You need to make sure that your register filing has been assigned. So a lot of times, most of your companies will be assigned to your registered. The register of the registrable controllers is located in the CorpSec's office, registered office. So to make sure to display that information, you need to assign a registered filing agent so that the address of the registered filing agent will be disclosed for that annual return. So if I were to go to returns, 9th, 9th, save and prepare. So click save and prepare. This will do a quick preparation for you. So it should display the information, I think, because of the date. So what essentially it would do is it will automatically change. It is the location to the registered filing agent. So there is a very specific text that will disclose over here to show that, look, it is the register of a registrable controller and nominee director is located at the address of the registered filing agent. So maybe I'll do another example right here. I'll do an example. Hopefully this one will be much more accurate. 18th. So I'm just going to skip that here. I'll put in Singapore as my currency. Click save. So if I were to, before I generate this, I'm just going to give an example of why that particular fields are important. So you can see that if you don't add in or record your remuneration or director's fee or re-election, for example, it will not display in your direct AGM members minutes. So make sure to fill that information in. So this is usually how it will disclose. If you're the registered filing agent and the location of the registers for the controllers and nominee director is in your office, it will disclose at registered office of the registered filing agent by the company. So aside from your annual return reports, you also have your annual return statement certificates. You have your standard director minutes, AGM. And again, just like what we have covered in my lesson number 1 for documents, each of these documents you can control. So for example, if you wish to have your members' minutes and resolution as a minutes formats, you have the ability to control whether to include an attendance list, previous meeting attendees, or if to appoint a chairperson. If you don't wish to appoint a chairperson, you can switch that off. Whereas if the document type is resolution, it will be a different formatting altogether. You won't be able to display your attendance list. So there are some scenarios whereby, example, I want to display my attendance list, but I couldn't display it. So to check that, a best practice, always check the document type. It's not only exclusive for your AGM documents, and also your other company changes documents. These particular settings of the document type will determine whether you can display the attendance list or not. So just retain it as it is. And if I were to preview, we will have a standard format of our attendance list as well. So other than that, we do have your solvency resolutions, your members' consent short notice. If the company is exempted from audit requirement statement, we do have that document display as well. So again, if you recall the whole process in document productions, you can simply click download all or send all to send to the client. So this is your full set, including your annual return report, your annual annual return certificate, your AGM documents, your attendance list, and these documents. So again, this will be downloaded. If you click on download, this will be downloaded onto your computer. And similarly, if I were to go to my 18th October company, so this is probably the same. Okay, 18th October. You can see on the Documents tab that I have generated the annual return documents. All right. So that's how we prepare annual return documents in CAS 360. Now, I'm gonna go through some of the queries on this topic on our Q&A. So if you don't have any remunerations amount, you can just skip that part if you don't want to display. So again, the whole logic with the whole annual return documents is that as long as you input a data on those fields, it will display onto the document. If there's no data on those fields, for example, in the case of your annual returns over here, right? When you click that to prepare the documents, I don't have any remuneration, that will not disclose into your members' minutes and resolution. It only has director's fee, but because I don't have data on my remuneration, therefore it doesn't disclose any text paragraph and or say or declare there's a remuneration. Right. Hope that answers the questions. Now, when it comes to documents that's not within the standard document, AGM documents of CAS 360. So an example would be one of the queries is retirement of directorship. All right. So retirement, again, this is something that has to do with your annual returns minutes over here. So we don't have specifically a text to declare that this particular director has retired, right? However, you can customize this within your director minutes resolution for AGM, which I'll cover in a bit of a later lessons as well. Now I have a question about nominee shareholder. Again, this topic I've covered this on level 1. It's under your shareholders. All right. So any question on this specific topic on annual return before I move on? All right. All right. So the next topic we're going to cover is your multi-company changes in CAS 360. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to apply a multi-change to multi-companies and multiple contacts. So in this exercise, we're going to learn how to process a registered office address change in bulk companies and also change of officers in bulk. To do that, go to your navigation toolbar and select this feature called multiples. So I already have an example over here, but I'm just going to delete these changes just to give you a bit of a much more clear interface. So when you're starting using this software, particularly on the multi-change, you'll see this is empty. And the first exercise that I want to do is do a bulk change of registered office address across multiple companies and contacts. So here you're going to select new changes. Under company address change, you will select registered address. So let's say I'm going to select CAS 360 Singapore. And here you can see that I've got a company. This is my current address. And you can select the new address, maybe 5 Changi, for example. It will also prompt you whether this is occupied by someone other than other company. If yes, you can add that, or you can always simply skip that part. And when you switch on this toggle button, this will also prompt you if you want to apply this new address to other types of addresses, whether it's your business, your postal register, and such. So if the location of your register has also been moved, you can simply switch on that as well. This is particularly useful for scenario like cases, for example, if you as a service provider, you offer your registered office address as the location or the registered address for multiple companies. This is a very good tool to do a bulk change. If you're, for example, a lot of cases, we have few clients that they move from one office to another. They need to let all the clients who are using their address, registered address, as a registered address, then this feature is a good use to do a bulk change of registered address for bulk of companies. So you can see that there's a company that is that uses the same or share the same address. So you can also apply to that similar company. If you switch off this toggle button, it means that it's not going to apply for this company as well. So probably going to use another company example. So here I've used 23rd August. Now, what you'll notice is that 23rd August is using this address. And the system recognized that not only that 23rd August is using this address, but other companies is using this address as well. So this is very common, especially, again, as mentioned, if you are moving another office and your client is using your office address as the registered office address. So to apply this change, simply click on applied company registered address with the same. And currently right now, it doesn't have any context. So similarly for these, it's able to detect whether multiple contacts in my global contacts is using the same address used by 23rd August. So right now, it didn't detect anything. So we can simply click proceed. So what you can see right now is that automatically it will list down all the companies who shared the same address with 23rd of August. So you can simply select which company that you want to prepare the documents. Again, the whole process is the same with document production, either download all and send all. So this is how we applied a registered office address bulk change to multiple companies and also multiple contacts. So another useful use of multi-company change is changing the officers. So under your new change tab, select officer change. And let's say you have a particular officer, maybe Veronica Tan. And she is a director to multiple companies and you want to resign, for example. So this is again very useful if you are the corporate secretary or the secretary, registered secretary for multiple companies. So this is an example. Click next. And what it does is that the system will recognize which companies that Veronica Tan is a secretary for. So I can choose which one I can resign her as a secretary and then click proceed. So you can see that Aziz as a secretary and simply create the prepare forms. Now, this is also another, if you're doing a bulk appointment, let's say, for example, I am the new Veronica Tan we're going to use Veronica as the same. And I want to appoint myself, Veronica, for example, as a secretary to multiple companies. So I can simply, this is particularly useful if you are the secretary to bulk companies. You can click next and you can select which company that you want to apply. So I can select, so generally for a lot of service provider, you are the registered secretary for those company. You can simply select all companies or you can select whichever that you like. So if I were to apply to 79 companies, it will allow me to do the change. So this is a very quick way to apply a lot of bulk changes in CAS 360. Now, any questions so far for this multi-company? So I'm just gonna quickly check. So any questions for this topic? All right. So we'll do a very quick break. So that's just to for those of you who need some toilet break. Also, you need to do a bit of a call. So we'll do a 15-minute break and then we'll come back again. And if you do have any other questions, kindly post it in the Q&A box so that I'll try to answer as much as I can as well. All right, I hope everybody is back from our quick break. Just gonna close these ones. All right. So that's a few questions that come through during our break. And the question is something that has to do with bulk um, multi-company change regarding a registered address. So with regards to, let's say, doing a registered address, so we'll do another example over here. Maybe I'll just select a company. So this is one example. You can see that it automatically populates the 5 companies sharing the same address, including contact as well. You can do that. And you can simply click proceed. Now, maybe I'll do like that, for example, and click proceed. So when you click proceed, automatically the system will list down those changes. So for example, so we had a couple earlier on. If you scroll the way down, it's quite a bulk. So you can see it's quite a bulk over here. I'm just gonna locate one more. So you have 82. So I'll do another example because this one's not gonna be a good one. So when you do a bulk change, you can simply delete them. So let me choose another example. Yeah. So this one will be a good example. Okay. Click proceed. Just type in a new address. Put it Changi Road. Click proceed. And what it does is you can see that it will list down all the companies. Now, one of the scenarios is I don't want to apply these to all my companies, right? So let's say these change of registered and doesn't apply to September company, okay? Or September, the 18th September, 18th October. So what you can simply do is click Option and delete, okay? So again, this one, I don't want these changed to my that company, so I will select delete. So you can select which companies that you don't want to apply that bulk change of registered address by simply deleting them onto your multi-company change. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my main dashboard. So the next topic that we're going to go through is your digital signing. So as you know, with one of the powerful tools in CAS 360 is that we have a two-way integration with 4 different digital signing partners that allows you to seamlessly manage your documents, particularly on updating your document that has already been signed. And to manage that, you can simply go to your settings, and you'll be able to find this section called electronic signing. So to select which electronic signing that you want to link up, you can simply select electronic signing integration. You can see right over here, I have linked up 2 of my signing accounts. One is DocuSign and FuSign. So you also have Adobe Sign, and we've recently added in this sign as well. My default digital signing account active is a DocuSign, but it can switch between DocuSign and FuSign. So as long as I've connected. Now, one of the few common question is that is this digital signing within CAS 360? The answer is yes and no. Okay. Yes, it's integrated, all right, within the whole workflow. No, in a sense that you still need to purchase a separate license account with this digital signing platform, right? In order for you to use the digital signing features in CAS 360. So you can simply go to my BGL integration, and you can see that these are the digital signing. When you first set up your digital signing, it will prompt you to select which one you want to link up. And to link up your signing platform, your account, you can simply click on the setting button and connect to Adobe. For example, this case is connect to Adobe Sign, and I will need to sign into my Adobe account. Now, one of the very also important thing that you'll need to take note of is that each digital signing platform will have set of license rules around connectivity with CAS 360. So, for example, if you're purchasing DocuSign, you will need to ensure that you purchase advanced solutions with a business pro. So this particular package, if you go to the website, it's not publicly available. This is a specific plan that DocuSign has set up with BGL. Right. So if you need to actually reach out, if you need to, for example, purchase a DocuSign account, and you want to have this workflow of digital signing within the software, you need to make sure that you purchased a enterprise account license, for which case DocuSign is advanced solution, which allows you to have the pro business feature and also the two-way integration. So if you are unsure of what kind of license, package that you've purchased or your plans, do reach out to the respective signing vendor, whether it's DocuSign, Adobe Sign, FuseSign, or PleaseSign, and ensure and check with them if your plan has the capability to enable the digital signing with CAS 360. So similarly, with Adobe Sign needs enterprise accounts. So if you're using the general users uses a standard, like a very basic Adobe signed plan with Adobe. However, you cannot link up that standard account alone. It needs to be on an enterprise plan. Otherwise, that will not link up. So this is criteria that Adobe Sign has also set the rule in order to enable the two-way integration between CAS 360 and the digital signing platform. So to find out more, if you haven't chosen your digital signing or you are in the process of selecting or purchasing a license with a digital signing platform, you to utilize that digital signing features in CAS 360, you can go into this link. I'm sharing this link on our webinar chat, so you can have a look at it, read through, to help you decide which digital signing platform and plan that you'll need to purchase. Right, so going back to the CAS 360, the setting up, I've shown to you how to set up, how to link up your account. When you already purchase your enterprise account or your advanced solutions with the respective digital signing, you can simply link it up. And once you link up, you will see that these status over here will show as active. It means that I've linked up my DocuSign advanced solution account. And also I've linked up my FuseSign account with my CAS 360. So going back to my company, so what you'll notice in the document production is that it automatically enables my digital sign. So for example, if I were to do a simple company change, I'm going to just select one of the companies over here, 28 August Trading. and I do just a very simple appointment of Secretary James, for example. And then you can also do maybe I'll do a allotment of shares. So you can see that I'm doing a combined minutes and resolution essentially. And right over here, you will notice there is a pen icon that is switched on automatically. So in the document production page, you will see also this thing called electronic signing option. This will allow you to control which signing provider that you switch between. Currently, right now, I am my FuseSign and Adobe Sign has been linked up, and each of these signing partner, they have different types of settings, and you can see you can adjust whether emails are completed signed documents. So if all the signing partners, for example, have signed a document, you can send the whole entire document pack directly to James, Mary, and Jennifer, for example. You can also enable whether you want to use SMS as a two-way for signatories before they can even digitally sign, or display all the signers in the email. So you can just click save on that. You can see it's already switched on. And to enable these features, generally what we like to use if you're not using the digital signing is download the document into PDF. But because you already have a digital signing switched on in your CAS 360, you will need to make sure to select Send All. So this is essentially sending the digital copy directly from CAS 360 to your client with a digital signing link. So you can see right over here, instead of a attached document, it will have this review documents link for James to sign. So this is essentially sending the document from CAS 360 to client with the digital signing document. So if I want to, let's say, see if A was a successful send to my client, if you remember on level 1, you can track that using under the messages and selecting outbox. So I've emailed directly to the client successfully. You can see these are sent to my respective signing partners. So if I were to go to my CAS 360 right now, to my email, so I'm doing an example over here, just gonna quickly show to you how it looks like. So let's assume I am the person who's signing the document. So you can see that it's addressed to the signing partner. You have the link over here instead of attached documents, to Mary Ann and also to James. So in each of the signing partner, they will need to sign the document. So let's assume for me, I need to sign the document. I click on the link. This will bring me to the digital signing DocuSign. So what happens is that it will resend me to the DocuSign page to sign the document. And I'm just going to quickly select a signature. Finished. and I will have a DocuSign signing complete. You can either email me a signed copy or download the signed copy. So if I were to download the signed copy, the copy will only have a signed, my signed version, but it doesn't have the complete one, right? So if I were to go back, so that's for like a signing. So I will need the rest of the signing partners to sign. So I'm just going to have Mary Ann, for example, she needs to sign the document, review documents, and finish. So again, the whole process is quite the same. Now, I'm just going to go back to my CAS 360 over here. And I will also, what I'll notice is that as a user, I will get a notification that from my bell icon over here to notify me that somebody has digitally signed the document I just sent. So which for this case, I've got Jennifer. And if I were to refresh, it should also send and notify me that Mary Ann, Mary Ann has signed the document digitally. All right. So going back to that particular document, so I'll close these once, and I need to complete another person. Let's say James. James is the one, the last one. We don't have, we're waiting for James to complete the whole document pack. So what I'll do again, James will need to click the document link, click review documents, and sign accordingly. So again, the whole process is quite similar. DocuSign will and the whole interface to notify the client that it has been digitally signed. So now if I were to go to my CAS 360, so you'll see that I'll get a notification, two notifications. One is from James that he has already signed a document. And the other one will be that the whole entire document has been completely signed by all three signing partners. And what happens in this whole process is that the power of the digital signing will change the status of the document. So here, if I were to go to my global documents, you can now see that the full document pack has been signed by all three signing partners who's required to sign the document. So you can see in my notification, it has been signed by James, and that the whole document for this company has been completely signed. Since and with these whole API integrations, it will update the status of the document to notify you that you have now all the signed documents signed by the client, and you will receive the signed copy as well. So to preview the digitally signed document, you can simply go to Options, Attachments, and you will see not only the copy that you have just prepared, but you will also have the copy of the document digitally signed by these three people. You also have a certificate of completion as a historical trail on when did they sign the document as well. And if you remember how to track the whole historical trail, you can simply go to Option, select History, and this will show to you the historical trail that the document has been prepared, DocuSign sent to the client, and that DocuSign signed by client. So this is how we can streamline the whole process when it comes to um, collecting the signed documents using the digital signing. So this will cut down the process of updating the status of the document when you can just simply update you that it is already completely signed by the client. So that's for digital signing. Any questions about digital signing? All right. If there's no questions, we're going to go to the next lesson, lesson number 6 on settings. This content can be found on the page 55 of the manual to navigate the topics. And in this lesson, we're going to learn how to customize the look and feel of the documents, particularly your director minutes and resolutions. We'll learn on the email settings, document email templates, and also how to set a automated document reminders and AGM reminder as well. So the first topic in this will be your email settings. So under the setting features, you see different tabs available for you, and the email settings falls under your general settings as well. So here in the email settings, you can control how the workflow of the email will be like coming from CAS 360 to your client. So for example, over here, use the full name of the sender. So by default, when you're sending the document directly from CAS 360 to your client, it will show your company's name instead of your name. So if you want your client to be able to see your name display in the email, so see if I have an example over here. So you can see that it's showing my email instead of the company's email. I can simply switch on the toggle button over here. So so here in the documents that's set as for review sent, if you recall in our document production, when you are sending the document for the manager to review, you can select whether after the document has been approved, whether this document is coming from the preparer or from the reviewer. So sometimes some users, some clients, they like to have those documents be sent from the reviewer instead of the preparer. It depends on the workflow and task and allocation with the team, how you do your these process. And you have a questionnaire as well, user and username as a reply to address. So what you also notice, if I were to go back into that particular text, for example, here, you can see by default, it's no reply at CAS 360. So if I want to reply to my this particular CSP, Jennifer, right? Automatically, the reply to will be my email address, like, hi Jen, could you please change the details of the address, for example. So you can auto set this when your client want to do a automatic or like a quick reply to you. Immediately you can simply set your email address as reply to address. Otherwise, by default, it will reply to no reply. You can also CC the address, BCC. Some clients, they use this feature as a tool to be able to view how exactly it will look like in a client's inbox. Now, something that I want to highlight as well. So we have what we call custom email address to send from CAS 360. So you can request for our ecosystem team to set up that your general email. So let's say my general email is corpsecteama@bgocorp.com.au, for example, to be the custom emails appearing on my client's inbox, right? Because by default, you've noticed again, if I'm going to go back to that sample, you can see it's no reply. So if you want your company's, your organization email domain to appear over here, particularly if it's like your specific department in general, or the general email, you can simply request for a custom email template. So as you know, the custom email template, it's a one-off setup fee of $500. So we're just gonna let us know if you want a custom email, and then we'll do, the charges will just be $1, 500 SGDL. Now, particularly on these ones, we always recommend when the user or when a client requests for a custom email, need to make sure that the email that you're using is an email that all the other users have access to or linked to. So for example, so a lot of the bigger firms, practices, they use a general CorpSec email, and all the team members in that CorpSec team has access to that or it receives email through that, like CorpSec at abccompany.com, for example. So generally what you want to do is use that email instead, so that it gets sent to the client. And then if you want the client to reply directly to you, you can just switch this thing on. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so that's how we set email settings in CAS 360. Now, before I go to document templates, what I want to go through first is this feature called go through the document templates. I want to go through first the email templates. So what you also notice is that when you're sending an email template, you can see that you can customize the text, the body text of what you're sending to your client. So if I were to, for example, sending an AGM reminder directly from CAS 360, I have the master template. I also have my custom template over here. So my master template will generally looks like this. You can customize which one that you liked. So I'm just gonna do an example. I'll just delete this one so you'll have a better idea how it look like. Okay, so it's used as a reminder. So I'm gonna use another document. So you'll see that these are the different type of email templates categories that you can customize. And the best way to actually know what are the documents or email templates that you can customize, you can simply go to Singapore Help and select CAS 360 Dictionary. So here in the email template codes, it will list down all the email templates that you can customize within the software. So I'm share this list into the webinar chat so that when you start using this feature, you can have the list. And when you click onto the list, each of the lists will have what we call merge field. So fields or codes that you can insert within the email template or document template to call out the data onto your email or documents. So for example, if I want to call out the company name, whichever company is it, it will automatically pre-populate that information onto my email template, as long as I insert this code. So for example, I'm just gonna try to select document prepare, for example. So I have different default settings over here. I'm just going to delete these ones. This is an example of a customized one. You can see that close this one. This is your standard. So this is my standard template. So I've got my standard codes set up and all. And I've also have a different one. So you can see I've added in company number, not just company name, but I've also added in the company number. So I've copied this code from this list over here. So an example, maybe I'll probably use an example annual returns as well. I'm just going to delete these ones. So just to give you a bit of idea how a standard template would look like. So a system, so whenever you see master on the label, it means that this is the system default template. You cannot delete this one. This is something that CAS 360 provide. It's embedded within the whole foundation of the software. So if I were to click customize, what I can simply do is click this master template, click master V1. I can do V1. And here, this is the system default. And what I can do is I can insert, for example, my signature so that my client can recognize that this particular email is coming from my service provider, for example. So I'm just going to quickly copy and paste one of my signature. And I'll paste it over here. So instead of the firm name, I don't want to display the firm name. I want to display my name. And here I've got the clients. So you also notice that how do I know what is displaying here? It's client and then annual return. So again, you can just simply go to the Singapore help. So just close these ones and select CAS 360 Singapore Dictionary. This case, this is customizing email template, and select annual returns because we are customizing an annual return email template. So you can see all the codes available over here. The clients, this code client is essentially based from the stored data on your contact, and the one that is set as a default signing contact in your general details. So what it means, if I'm going to open my CAS 360, for example, over here, And in this section, I've got a signing contact, right? So that if I were to send my annual return, this one over here, right? The name of, so I'm just going to quickly upload that. The name of Wei Jia, Huang Wei Jia, will be displayed in here. That's the code to call out this signing contact. All right. Now going back to these, so I want to here display not only annual returns, but I want to display the company name and company numbers. So again, I'm going to go back to the CAS 360 dictionary on the annual return email template category, and I can just simply copy the name, go to my settings, so that every time I generate the annual return email to send to the client, it will pull out the company name and UA number based on the code. Or let's say example, again, company name and settings. Just gonna quickly type this in. Supporting documents review. Again, you can text, you can add in additional text over here. So every time you do process the annual return, for example, send the document, then you have these, it pulls out all the documents. Now, if you're customizing and you want to set it as default, you can simply make it as a default. So click update. First, you'll need to click update. You can see that you've customized that part. It's already set to default. You can also create your own custom. Again, when you create the new custom version, it will copy the system default that you have just customized. Let's say I want to change these ones. I have more text, for example, and click update. So now that you have two email templates for annual returns, you can choose which to set default. So you can either set this default or these ones. To set this as a default, simply click on Make Default so that every time you send an annual return, for example, directly from CAS 360 to your client, this is the default email template. So similarly, so we had a couple, if you recall, your digitally signed document, DocuSign document reminder, document deadline. This is also very useful. You can simply customize the body text or the header as well so that it will pull out the data from your database and populate it in your email templates. So that's how we customized the email template with CAS 360 and using the merge fields, particularly for email templates. Now, one of also the very common features, commonly asked feature is document templates. So in CAS 360, you have the ability to customize the templates in CAS 360, including your director minutes and resolutions, and also members minutes. So here by default, it will select Singapore. If you're working on other countries, other jurisdiction, it will list on documents that is on the jurisdiction list. And for Singapore, it will filter documents that are under the Singapore jurisdiction. So you can see, again, the way to go about with customizing your documents is, again, this is a very important feature. To always go to your Singapore Help Guide, select the CAS 360 dictionary, and select the document templates. So I'll share this particular link as well so that you can bookmark this to help you with your customization journey. And you will list down all the documents that you are able to customize. You also notice some of the documents is cannot be customized. You can see they're not they can't be clicked, but otherwise most of the documents under the Singapore jurisdiction category can be customized in your document template. So one example for these exercise would be your director minutes and resolutions. With CAS 360, when you're customizing, you need to make sure that you are using the codes, appropriate codes for the appropriate templates or appropriate. For this case, I want to customize my director minutes and resolution. Therefore, in my CAS 360 dictionary, I need to select this category. So I can use this code, only exclusively these codes, for my director and minutes and resolution code only. Okay, so one of the few things that you will need to remember is that each of these document type will have a specific codes that they can use within their document type. So for this case, this is exclusively for director minutes and resolution. I cannot use this for an example, a member's minutes or another document that requires me to display company name. So doing an exercise, I have a sample document. Give an example. If you're gonna go on my CAS 360, and you will see that in this, there's a list of category of documents I can customize. So I'll just simply search for director minutes and resolution and select these document set category. So by default in CAS 360, you will have two master template. One is a director minutes and resolution. The other one is a single column director minutes. So let's download these ones to give you a bit of idea how each of these layout looks like. So for a director, a standard director minutes and distribution, the layout will be the header on the left. You can see right over here, and the body text is on the right. So this is a system default. So this template is system default across all jurisdiction. Similarly, we have one over here, the single column. Single column is essentially this particular format. So you can see the big difference over here. The header, it's all in one single column. There's the header and the body text, instead of the one that's the other system default, which is the headers on the left. So I'll close these and click enable. Now, from the wording itself, director minutes and resolutions, so as you know that in every transaction you do in CAS 360, it requires a director minutes and resolutions. So majority of the company changes, whether you're appointing an officer, nominee director, resigning a secretary, allotting shares, transferring shares, having a appointing an auditor and such, you will it requires a director minutes and resolution. So all the text for director minutes and resolution are saved in one Word document. So you can see over here if there is an election of chairperson, whether it's a registered office address change, change of contact address, appointment of secretaries, appointment of director, all these text that's related to director minutes and resolution is in one single document file. So that includes your AGM documents. So one of the very common questions, how do I customize my AGM documents? So because you need a director minutes and resolution for an AGM, so again, these text paragraph will fall under the category of director minutes and resolution master template. So you can see over here, we've got, depending on the different types of annual return scenarios in AGM, you can see that we have the text paragraph available for you to use and also to customize. So we also have different signing styles as well that's already within that director minutes and resolution. So for this exercise, I'm just going to simply show to you how I customized my my header to look like the standard Singapore style. So an example over here, I've got a sample Singapore template. And you can see that it looks totally different from the master template that I downloaded from CAS 360. So after this session, in next week or probably tomorrow, I'll be able to send you the sample so that you can also practice. You can also customize on your ends as how you want it. That's up to you as well. But I can just simply demonstrate in this exercise how I managed to do this. Turn my master template from CAS 360 to my custom template that I can upload back to CAS 360. So going back to my CAS 360, again, I'll have to go to my Singapore help and select my CAS 360 dictionary. We've done that already over here. And I'll go specifically to director minutes and resolutions. So here, what I've done to be able to get these formats. So what I've done is I wanted to display the company name, but in uppercase. So here under director minutes and resolution, I can scroll all the way down and locate the category miscellaneous. So in the miscellaneous, there is a code that will change the way my company name to display as uppercase. To do that, I can just simply either copy or remember how the text would look like and make sure that I insert my code exactly how the instruction looks like. So I'm going to open my, my document and I'm just going to put it over here. I'm just going to select, usually what I did is I will copy it in here because it's a word. This is a box. And in this format, I can just put it centralize and make it bold. So these texts are quite the generic, the standard ones from CAS 360. So what I've created is I've created a Singapore style specifically. So here, if you already have your own Word documents in for your director minutes and resolution, you can copy the text, registration numbers. Again, I'll just put in the registration number text. And we've got a code over here called company number. So I want to also be able to display the UN number over here in my header. So what I'll do is I can just simply copy this text, company number. So you can see quite similar. And some headers, they have these particular text add on, and you can just simply type that in. So I'm essentially just copying like my own custom template style. And here, by default or generally, we like to display the document name, whether it's a director minutes and resolution, and additional text to show the in writing pursuant to the constitution of the company. So you can copy these texts from your own template if you do use this header. And what you'll need to do is to always make sure to copy this one, since you can see there's already a code available, and simply put it in front of that paragraph. Now, as you can see, you already have the code, but one thing missing about this code that you want to make sure that you've displayed this into all uppercase in bold. So how do we do that? Again, similarly, I'm using this code to actually instruct the text, to prompt my text to show up that it's uppercase and also in bold. So to do that, I can simply do this copy similarly how I did. And I will use the bold features from the Word document. So do something like that from the basic one first, like this. So once I'm happy with that text, let's do a very basic one, appointment of director, for example. So here I've got a lot of actually different text paragraph. Here is an example of appointment of director. And I can simply add in additional text. So for example, I resolved the consent to act as director of the company, and I want to insert the name of the company and the UN within this paragraph. So what I'll do again is I will go to so I'm just going to close this. I'll go to my list of director minutes and resolution and search for the company name, the code to call out the company name on my document. Over here. The companies, I want it to be here, company name, the company. So what we'll do is that this code will actually call out the full company name, whichever company that you are preparing director minutes and resolution. So now again, I want these to be again uppercase and bold. So again, similarly to what we have done, we've used the code as uppercase. And bold. So that's that. So I've customized that. So it's a very basic changing of the way I want to display in the company. So similarly, I want to also add in the UAN number, that with the UN number and then the UN number. So I'm going back to my list and copy this code and insert it into my paragraph. And you can add in additional text over here if you want. Can add on text here, example. So just highlight this so you can see how it would look like. You can also display the way you want to display these texts. So for example, I want to display the date in a different format. So again, going back to my template over here, my code over here. So this time around, I will go all the way down and I will look for the code which allows me to manipulate the date format. So for this case, under date formats, still in director minutes and resolution list, but it falls under date format. So here I can simply select how I want to display into uppercase, for example. So I can copy and paste or select this code, go back to my documents and paste that code. Over here. So that's that. So I'm happy with that. So we'll do just a very basic one over here. So I'm happy with this template. I can just simply save my template. Today's date. This is 28 version. And I will close this template. Now, once I've saved my custom templates, I'll go back to my CAS 360 and select document templates, search for director minutes and resolution, and I will select the director minutes and resolution category. So here I will select upload button and select my custom template that I've just done. Now you can have an option to set it as default. So by system, this is the system default. But if you want your custom template to be your system default, so that every time you prepare a director minutes and resolution, the system uses your own custom template. To set that, simply go to option and set as default. So if you're right to go do a little bit of simulation to just show you how it looks like, if I were to click on a company and I select do a just very simple appointment of director, click prepare forms. When I preview my documents for this appointment of director, you will see the documents, the customization I've done will be applied to that document. So you can see it calls out my company name in uppercase and in bold, company number, and my director, these director resolutions. I made sure that I'm not just copying the code, but I also made it bold and uppercase so that it's seamless with the rest of my header, which is the in writing pursuant to the constitution of the company. So here I've added in the company name, full name with the UN number, and also the full the director and appointed on the full date, uppercase. And this is my additional text paragraph. So you'll see that the text paragraph that I just added in, inserted into that document has been added in as well. So this is how we customized your documents in CAS 360. So this customization is not just for director minutes. Again, if you go to this list, each of the lists will have their custom codes. So if you're customizing, for example, your AGM documents, majority of the times this can be found on your director minutes or your members minutes. And you can scroll all the way down to the very bottom of the document. All the text paragraph can be found for the AGM directors and also the members. So after this session, I will send all the attendees a sample document of my Singapore style header so that you can get started with testing out customization as well. All right, so any questions so far for these template? All right, if there's no question, I'm going to go to the last topic of in CAS 360, which is on your automated reminder. So again, going back to your main dashboard, we will select the option settings. So just a quick amend, or I don't know, I made an error, said that it's going to be a last one, but actually we'll have another topic to cover after this one, which is your free form. This is a very also commonly asked questions, but meantime, I will cover this feature, which is also found under your settings. So under the automated reminders, you have the ability to set a reminder for your document reminder of annual returns and also AGM reminders. So in CAS 360, we have added in a AGM reminder. By default, when you click on AGM reminder, it will be in this format. To enable that feature, simply switch on the toggle button and you can set. I'm just gonna probably delete these ones so you can see how we do reminders. So I've seen, you can see that I have different set of reminders. So I have set a up to 90 days reminder set at the local time. So it will follow my location, which is in Singapore, send an email, and you can set the deadline based on either AGM due date or financial year end date. And again, when you remember, we talked about the email templates. The email templates that will be sent by default will be these ones. Otherwise, if you set these as your AGM reminder email template, it will send this template instead. So I've got, so I've set quite a number before AGM due date. I've also set up a 90 days before 90 days AGM reminder and based on the financial year end date. So you can set up to maximum of 6 and click save. So if you want, let's say, I want to remind 30 days before of AGM or 30 days before AGM due date, I can simply select that as well. So these settings allows you to set a bulk reminder to send to client. So the client will receive a notification from your CAS 360 to notify them by email that their AGM is due in 90 days, 60 days, and 30 days before the AGM. Right, so this is how we set a bulk AGM reminder to remind your client about the upcoming AGM using CAS 360. Similarly, with document reminders, we do have different types of reminder available for in CAS 360. We've got a document deadline reminder, annual review, and other reminders. So document deadlines, if you recall, if you have any documents that you sent to the client, it will send an automated reminder 30 days before the deadline. Similarly, for annual returns, you can set 30 days, a maximum of 30 days, so it will count based on the annual returns. So again, the very important the company dates are up to date so that it follows the accurate date for reminder. So that's for automated bulk reminder using automated reminders in your settings. So the last topic we'll cover is your freeform. So do delete all this record for a quick one. So freeform document allows you to store your custom template that is not generally prepared by CAS 360. Things like your agreement forms, onboarding forms, or any other forms that you like. For example, if you do a director minutes resolution of a retirement of directorship, so one of the example that raised up earlier, because we don't have that document within the whole AGM workflow, you can add that template under freeform documents. So to create the template use this feature, first you need to create a template. So click freeform and select create new freeform templates. So here you can type in the document type. For example, I've got, let's say, maybe retirement. So I'll use an example of one of the questionnaire or like question earlier, retirement of directorship, for example. And you can select the document style, whether it's a minutes resolution, letters, or freeform. So by default, if you were to select minutes and resolution, it uses the system default layout header of a resolution of director minutes and resolution. Whereas freeform, it will just be a free text. So show you an example over here. So this is a you can select whether it's a member's minutes, a member's resolution, or directors. I can select that. Maybe a member, for example. Click next. Add in your text. So I'll probably just like this is a test. I'm just gonna put it that you can put in the title as well. Oh, directorship, for example, and click next. So what it will do, because I selected a over here I selected a members minutes and resolution style. So by default, it will create something like this. And you can select whether you want it to be this layout or you want a single column version. So if I were to go back to my details, for example, I don't want that header style. I just want a free form. So this is my text. And what you'll see is that it will create a very basic template. It will create whatever you have copy and paste, what will appear. It will be a free form. So if you have, like, for example, a specific header, or you can copy and paste the text, and then you can preview how it will display. So similarly with freeform, you have a code that you can insert with your freeform documents. So again, I'm going to go to my CAS 360 dictionary, and I can simply type in freeform and select freeform documents. So I'll share this link to everyone in the webinar chat so you can use this and bookmark this as well. Similarly to the documents, the Word documents, you can use this code to insert into your freeform. So for example, I want the contact name. You can just put it over here, insert the contact name. So anything that's has to do with a contact name, it will pull out in this format. And you can simply save or save and proceed. So when you click save and proceed, this will prompt you to which company that you want to process this document. So because I don't have a contact name over here, it won't show up quite correctly. So you can see. So how do I know that I need to show up correctly is, again, it's something, this will go back to your data. If you didn't fill up any data to call out, it will not display. So that company, this second main company, I don't think we have any contact name. So over here, so you can see I don't have company contact. If I were to go to freeform, hopefully this will display. Yeah, so I don't have it. So essentially you'll need to, this one I have to check, I'm not sure specifically, but essentially it will pull out the data that you have saved in CAS 360, and those codes are the ones that will pull out those data onto your freeform. So going back to the freeform, this freeform will be saved into your freeform templates. You can see I have quite a number of freeform that I've saved. And similarly, you have a list of freeform available for you. You can do company letters, contacts, director minutes and resolution, layout, and you will pull. So if I were to select the document type as director minutes and resolution, any custom freeform director minutes and resolution will fall in this category. So one of the most, also another commonly asked questions, so how do we generate these financial change of financial year end date? So similarly under freeform, you can select freeform documents, and we're not going to create anymore since we have that change of FYE already stored in my freeform by default. I can simply select prepare freeform documents. And here I will just, I'm going to select change of financial year end date, and it will, the system will automatically pre-fill. It's a resolution, a document style, and the document type is a director. This is the set default. If you want to add in more text, again, this will allow you to preview. So if you can see right here, this is my default. And I'm not sure whether everybody can see. Unfortunately, I can't really make my screen bigger. So you can see this is the text paragraph, and then this is my additional text. And it follows a standard director minutes and resolution. All right, so that's how we generate. If, for example, you're going through a change of financial year end for a company, this can be found under your freeform documents. All right. So this is how our customization in CAS 360. So we do have some, you can customize your templates within the software. there are limitations around the customization, as again, each and every individual practice customized have a different customization workflow and process, but we do have created a set customization feature that is available and accessible to across all jurisdictions, including Singapore. All right. So any questions so far for the customization and the freeform document? All right, so I'm gonna just switch my to my slides. So any questions so far? So I'm just gonna quickly look through any questions for customizations or particular topic that's missed out. Otherwise, if there's no question, I'll be ending my session over here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for the level 1 sessions. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can always, again, if you quick need of help, you can use our live chat support, our CAS, or log a ticket, and our support consultant will assist you with your query. All right, thanks everyone, and have a great evening ahead.